Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the TraderMerlin Show for your Tuesday edition. A little bit of a change for us today. We're going to talk a lot about futures. Of course, we'll talk a lot about what's happening in these markets overall. It is the 28th of June, so we've just got a couple days left. And as we get through the later part of this week, I will let you know all of the numbers and what we did for the month of June. We'll look at the markets in detail a little bit later on. But I want to start things off by talking about the program for today. One of the questions, actually several of the questions we received in the last couple weeks have been pertaining to futures markets, the ins and outs of it. So I thought it'd be great to do a show called The Ins and Outs of Futures Trading. Trey Lazzara is going to be our guest today. He's the president of TradePro Futures. And as you can see, being the president of a futures company, there are some disclosures that need to be made, and I will encourage you guys to read through this as fast as you can. From a compliance perspective, I want to make sure we have our little disclosure screen up there for Trey and his company. So without further ado, having said that and gotten all the details out of the way for regulatory purposes, welcome back to the show, Trey. It has been a very long time since I've talked to you on this type of environment. How you been?
I've been great to be back.
It's good to have you back. Anything new and exciting in your world? I guess I'll just start with that because I think last time you were on was on Power Trading Radio, which at this point was over 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been a while for sure. Yeah. I mean, lots of new stuff. I mean, since then, there's been a lot of micro contracts that have been coming out. There's just one that launched today, actually a nano contract. Coinbase recently purchased a futures exchange called forex. Now it's Coinbase derivatives, and they launched a nano Bitcoin today, which is 1/100th of a Bitcoin.
So we've got one Bitcoin, we've got a tenth of a Bitcoin, and now we got hundreds of Bitcoins.
Exactly. Yeah, we got the 5 Bitcoin, which is the big CME contract.
Yeah. Interesting. Are you seeing more of that? Because you have FTX buying derivatives exchanges. I think you had Coinbase buying one. I think Kraken just bought one. I mean, pretty soon you're going to be connecting to so many different exchange futures products from crypto exchanges. Is that kind of a newer phenomenon for you?
Yeah, so both. So Forex was a fairly new player to the market. They were the smaller contracts, the micro-sized contracts, right. And then there was one called the Small Exchange that also got bought by a crypto company. So both of these new, just startup futures exchanges got almost immediately bought out by these. Huge crypto exchanges.
Great business. You start up within a year, you're already selling out for a huge profit. I'm in the wrong business, Trey. Come on.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is this thing going to ever take off? And then they get acquired right away.
All right. So I want to go through a few listener questions here that will kind of set the stage for today and walk us through our discussions. And the first one that came through is very broad. And again, my goal today for anybody who's watching is I want to talk about the nuanced details of the futures market, and not just the futures market, but going from broker to broker, because there's many of you who are using, a variety of different brokers out there, and I question if you're getting the best service and best value from your broker. A lot of us just look at an ad in a magazine or on TV and go, hey, I'm going to go trade with them, and that'll be a lot of the discussion for today. Of course, those of you who are regulars, if you want questions answered, just type in a couple question marks before your question in chat so I know which ones are directed to Trey and myself. So here is the first question from NJ. He says, is futures better than options for active income? How much do you really need to start trading a volatile futures ticker? Well, there's obviously a ton of different things you can be trading that are volatile, but let's start with your opinion, Trey. Which one do you think is better, or is there a better one?
So better is kind of subjective. I would say easier is futures. Of all the asset classes, options is the one that's not like the others. That it's got different types of strategies. You've got Greeks to deal with. You've got time value, things like that. With futures, it's much like stocks or forex trading. It's very directional. So from like a complexity standpoint, I would say futures is the easier one to start with.
I think that with futures, you have more of a universal language. You have Are they deliverable type things? Well, that's going to be common for every futures contract. Whereas with options, you really have to learn a whole new terminology that's proprietary to that industry. The deltas, gamma, theta, Greeks, all that Greek stuff. I would agree that I think futures is probably the simpler of the two. I like that you have such flexibility, but I think one of the big advantages there from an NJ perspective, if this is actually a trading instrument, then futures win because it has preferential tax treatment here in the U.S. That's a 1256 contract, which means 60% long-term capital gains, 40% short-term, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The other, along the same lines, there are options on futures. So if you're wanting to do those same option strategies you're doing in equities, and you're already doing them on, one of the big stock index ETFs like the Spiders or the Diamonds or the Qs, you could do the same thing with the futures options and futures micro options and get that same preferential treatment that you do with futures.
All right. Quick question came in from Lori, which is, hello, Lori, which is a pretty good one. Does your platform include options as well as futures? I know you did forex and futures. You do options as well?
Yeah, so we do options on futures. So, like I was saying, like the stock, almost anything that has a futures contract also has an options contract. So whether that's, Bitcoin or that's crude oil or gold or a stock index like the S&P, then yeah, you could trade both in the same account.
Okay, but so it's just the futures products though.
Yeah, it's options on futures. It's not options on equity products.
Excellent. All right, cool. Well, that's one question out of the way for NJ about which one's a better trading vehicle. Personally, I don't know if I could say which one's better. It's like the old sexist remark: which do you like better, blondes or brunettes? Well, personal preference here. I definitely think it's easier to be trading futures products, whereas you go into options and you have a lot more to think about. And if you're buying a call or selling a call, buying a put or selling a put, and then all the different variables, it can be a bit daunting. But I personally love options trading as well. Let's go to question number 2 over here, which will steer us even further into our discussion on futures. That's from Pepe, and this one's a little bit more complex. For those of you who follow the show, I'm a huge practitioner of risk management. To me, risk management is the number one thing to help you succeed at this. Just don't lose a lot. And Pepe, who's been trading a while, he says, is there a way to have a strategy that once entering with 2 contracts, after hitting my target 1, the stop moves to break even? I would like to do this on swing trades on 240-minute time frames with targets or multiple targets. So what's your take on that one, Trey?
Yeah, so definitely we have multiple platforms that do that, including our free TradePro training platform. And one of the keys with something like that, I would say, is you want to have a platform that has server-side OCOs.
Okay.
That way, if you log off your computer or you lose connectivity or something like that, then that OCO logic and that logic that moves your stop to break even is held server side. So so our TradePro Trinity platform would be our probably the first one that we would recommend for that. But there's multiple others, including Sierra Charts and a few others.
And I think the important piece to remember for everybody is there's going to be different levels of complexity, and we'll talk about the varying degrees of platforms here in a little bit. But some people just want literally the buy and sell button and a chart, and that's it, nothing else. Others are out there writing, all kinds of C++ code to have all these executables when the 8-period moving average crosses the 21-period moving average. But when it's in an oversold situation, it's like all these little factors. To be honest, you can create anything that you want on a specific platform. So if it's an open source one like Trey was just mentioning about, where you can actually go in there and write your own code on things, sky's the limit on what you can do. But for most people, that's not going to be something that's needed. So there are some basic platforms. What was the one that you mentioned that allows Pepe to do that multiple target?
So our TradePro Trinity platform, there's some training videos on our website that show you how to use it. But if you're using something, and you can do this from multiple interfaces. So if you want to use in the depth of market, which in TradeStation terms is they call the matrix.
Right.
There's the ability to do it there. If you're a chart trader, you could do the exact same thing. So if he's trading off of a 240-minute chart and he wants to see his profit targets and stop losses on the chart itself and be able to manually drag those profit targets and stop losses to where he wants, and still have that ability to have the stop move to break even after the first target is hit. That's all very easy to set up. There's not really any programming that needs to be done. You just need to put in, your targets and your stops and have it move to break even after, X number of ticks or whatever logic you want to put in.
Right. One thing that's always bugged me, and actually I guess it hasn't bugged me, let me take that back. One thing that has been easy for me over the years, and you might remember this when we were back at the old Online Trading Academy days in Southern California. For those who know, Trey was the guy who kept all the data flowing. He ran the IT for the old on the trading floor that I first met Trey at back in 1998. So we go back a long way. We're both young. Now Trey has kids. Trey has kids that are in college almost, and it's been a while. When we went on that trading floor, it was like, okay, you have momentum platform. That's it. And then, we're moving to a different platform. You don't have momentum anymore. You just have on-site trading. It was like, here, this is what you get. And one thing that I think deserves some attention from you and the viewers is your platforms. I'm over here at TradeProFutures.com. I'm going to click on Futures, and you guys see this huge list. TradePro Trinity, MetaTrader 5, options on Futures. Let's go Sierra Charts, TT Platform, Quant Tower, Multi-Charts, Active Trade. I mean, there's like a dozen platforms here, and I think most people don't realize that they have the choice of different platforms. First off, why do you offer so many, and how do you inform people about the pros and cons of each one?
Yeah, so it can be a little daunting if one of the best things I would say is, like call in and you can ask for a recommendation. But, there are, Pepe is going to be more advanced than somebody who just took a class at Online Trading Academy. So somebody who just took a class and wants something as simple as possible, they've already, been fed a fire hose of information, and they want, something as basic and simple as possible. We would put them on, probably a simple web-based platform like TradingView, which has a very simple order ticket. Most people just have a simple bracket, a simple profit target and a stop loss.
Right.
And TradingView does that. It has, very nice charts. It's very intuitive, very user-friendly. So somebody who's new, we would put on something like that. Somebody like Pepe, we would probably put on our TradePro Trinity platform, so he'd have those more advanced order types where he could swing trade and put that profit target and stop loss. And then somebody who wants to, create a strategy like you were talking, program and, a complex strategy, they're going to need to have a platform like multi-charts, for example, where you could take code written in TradeStation and then import that over to multi-charts and or develop it natively within multi-charts, or something like Sierra Charts, which is also a very advanced, low latency, great application. Either one of those. But one of the things that's different about futures from stocks is that in stocks, most of the volume is done, like you sign up with broker XYZ and they have, platform ABC and that's what you use.
That's it.
With futures, there's a real diverse, need of desires for, each individual trader. So, the new trader maybe just wants something that has, very clean, nice, simple to use charts. And, the automated trader maybe wants something where he can, program a strategy. So, but the person who's just starting out doesn't need that, super high level platform that, takes, months to overcome the learning curve.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of, you choose, and we can help guide you through which one is the best choice for you.
I guess a good analogy there would be, you probably learned to swim in the kiddie pool where you could sit and pee in the water for a little while before you actually jumped into the deep end.
So some people will be in the kiddie pool, some people will be in the Olympic pool, and somebody will, some people may want the ocean. But
that's right.
Have something that suits your needs.
I've seen grown adults in the kiddie pool, so don't think you ever have to leave the kiddie pool, folks. And I think the reason I bring all that up, everyone, is just it's a matter of choice. And I think when you go to normal brokerage firms, you don't get a choice. You just get one. And it might be confusing at first. Okay, which platform do I use and what do I need? You start off small. And I think as you get better as a trader, it's this constant learning process of what you should be doing. How do I do my discipline? How do I practice my risk management? How do I refine my rules? And then you may think to yourself, you know what? Maybe I can automate some of these rules. Maybe I'm looking at supply and demand zones and want to incorporate in, bearish divergences and things like that. Great. Add that in and start to build and see if you can prove to yourself that those results are getting better and better. And if you don't have the right tools, you're never going to get to that point that you want to get to. So I think that's a huge advantage in this space, is having the ability to go to somebody like Trey, where he's like, hey, you want real basic? TradingView. I mean, heck, we look at TradingView almost every single day. And if I wanted to, I could connect this to my account and just start trading futures directly from here. Or I could go to something far more advanced, which for most of you would make your eyes spin. But for some of you, it's like, super exciting. The other part that I want to get to, let me see if I can get to this last question here. At least there's more coming through, so I will get to all your questions that you guys are typing in, but these were sent through the YouTube channel, so I want to make sure I get to those. This is a tough one, and I know you probably can't legally say, but it says, what's the best futures trading platform out there? Is there one?
So yeah, again, that's per person. The person who just took a class who's very new, the best thing for them is something that's not going to overwhelm them. Something like a TradingView. And we use TradingView a lot. I mean, we use it for futures and we use it for forex trading. So you could have one tab for your futures and one for your forex. So yeah, that's a tough one, because I think that's very personal. It's like, what's the best car for you? What's the best? That's, you got a bunch of kids, you need an SUV. It's right. A very you go through a midlife crisis, you need a fast car. It's just.
By the way, did I tell you got a new Corvette? I'm kidding. Terry says, is TradePro available in Canada? We do have a lot of Canadian listeners.
So we are, yeah. So that's another good thing about us. So we have multiple clearing arrangements, and one of them that we got specifically for that reason. So yeah, we do open up Canadian accounts. Yes. Nice.
There you go. Yeah. One thing that I want to, and this is something that's for me personally has been an issue over the years, is I've traded with a lot of different futures brokers, and there's two big numbers that you always have to think about. Number one is, what are my margin requirements? Meaning, how much capital do I need to put up to hold this S&P contract or gold or wheat, corn, soybeans, whatever. The second one's going to be the actual execution costs. So there's margin requirements or margin and maintenance requirements, and then execution costs. This is one area where, and again, I love to promote you because of this. You blow the doors off of any other trading platform I've been with, and I guess maybe we can do like an example of give me an example of a maintenance requirement or margin requirement for, let's say, TradeStation versus somebody for your futures products.
Yeah. So I don't know all of TradeStation's margins specifically, but generally, like a TradeStation or an Interactive Brokers, they're going to be focused more on the initial margin. So I know at Interactive Brokers, they don't have really day trading margins. So if the initial margin for NASDAQ is 15,000, then you would need 15,000 in your account to trade one lot. Maybe some of the others, maybe it's 50% of that. So maybe you need $7,500 or
right.
$3,750 if it's 25%. We would do something like $1,000, and we can even do less than that. We'll do like $500 if they tell us they need that, then that's something we can do for them. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not encouraging you to max out your margin.
No, not at all. But
yeah.
But you get a lot of people who just don't have the ability to come up with that much money. And here's a good example. I'll just show you. Here's TradeStation S&P 500 for the ES. Intraday initial margin is $5,700. But I go to someone over here. Let's go to. I think I had it over here. Where's my S&P on this one? Here's your S&P, and this your day trading's 100, and your initial's 1,200. I mean, that's 1/5.
So that's I think you're looking at the MES there.
I was E-mini, yes, yep.
Yeah, so it's 10 times that that's 1/10 of the ES. So if it's $100 for the MES, it will be $1,000 for the ES.
Yep. And Michael says have to be very careful with the margin. I could not agree more. It's probably one of the most dangerous thing to people who don't understand margins. Like, oh, great, I can, instead of buying one contract on this platform, I can buy 5 for the same amount of capital. It just means that you could potentially lose money 5 times as quick. So yeah, absolutely. You know, we've talked about on this program many times, like you should never try to progress and trade bigger until you can actually prove you're making money or your strategy works with one contract or one micro or one mini, whatever your trade account limits you to. But be very careful until you get to that point that you're comfortable. And then don't go from one contract to 5 just because you can afford it. You know, maybe jump from 1 to 2 and then see how that changes. Because I'm guaranteeing you, your psychology is going to change. When you trade one contract of the S&P and now you're going to go and trade 5, the sweat squirts out of your palm a little faster when things start railing against you. On a day like today, if you were long today, you'd be pretty nervous. I'm sure a lot of people are very nervous about the markets. And, you know, I encourage people to use margin as long as you understand the risks and make sure that you have stop losses in place. But if I have my choice of 2 platforms, one's going to require me to put up a lot of money for my margins and one's not, that is a big advantage for that one specific platform or brokerage firm.
I would agree. I mean, you know, like if you have a $5,000 account, you know, you wouldn't even be able to open up one contract.
Right.
You know, so, you know, with us, at least you could get into that. You could get into that trade. And, you know, to your point about the trading multiple contracts, I would say the same thing about if you're new to this, especially, but I think you've noticed this too, the micro volume is, you know, a lot of times triple what the E-mini volume is on some of these stock indexes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think we always used to say on the trading floor, you know, if you're not winning with 100 shares, don't trade 1,000 shares. So, you know, you may want to start out with those micros as well and before you go to the E-minis.
Yep. Yeah, start small. I mean, my mentor many moons ago, he used to tell me, look, if you go on a losing streak and you're losing consistently, go back to 1 share. And I remember my reaction, I like furrowed my brow and gave him the old stink face, like, are you nuts? I'm going to trade 1 share? How the hell am I going to make anything off 1 share? He goes, that's not the point. He goes, the point is you're in a losing streak and your mindset is a defeatist attitude right now. You're going to keep on losing until you get a winner. So go to 1 share. Make 2 cents profit on it. Now your brain goes, all right, I'm back on track. You know, with these micros, et cetera, you have the ability to do so. Now, no one here is going to get rich trading micros, and you're not going to go out there and trade 100 micros at a time. You're just going to trade a bigger contract. So start small, get comfortable with it. Margaret asked, do you trade, Trey?
Yes, absolutely. I trade futures and forex.
There we go. It's been for a long time too.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah.
Let's see, Trey. Any platforms trading forex? Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know the like industry standard platform, and you know it's not necessarily my favorite. I don't dislike it, but it's not necessarily my favorite. But MetaTrader is kind of the industry standard. That one's out there, but the TradingView. So that it's something so many people are familiar with these days. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so many of our customers use it for futures, and then they could just have another tab for their FX. And at least they don't have to learn 2 different platforms.
Right.
You know, they can do what they can't be logged into the same account on the same tab, but, you know, it's not too big of an ask to switch tabs and trade the different assets.
You know, that's interesting that you say that's one of those features of TradingView that I've come to love, because on one platform I can look at any futures product from around the world, right? I can pull even though I don't have access to it, I can pull up, you know, I want to look at cocoa in the Congo. Got it. Mm-hmm. You know, I can pull up all this weird, obscure stuff, but then I can look at all my equities. I can look at ETFs. I can look at cryptocurrencies and forex products. So, you know, if you have a forex broker that allows you with an open API to plug into TradingView, that can be your one interface for multiple different venues, which is something that, you know, we've been trying to work on with CliK for a long time. It's just we haven't kind of got it to market yet. But that interoperability where I can have all sorts of different accounts but have one primary interface is a huge advantage. So to answer that question for Doug, There's multiple, as I was mousing over them, he mentioned you've got multi-charts, you got MetaTrader and TradingView as well. So you got a variety of platforms there for forex.
Correct. Yeah. If you needed to do something like that you do in TradeStation, like you had a strategy that worked on, Euro futures, and you wanted to apply that to Euro FX, then you would use something like a multi-charts. But yeah, I mean, the two free big popular ones are TradingView and MetaTrader.
And to Doug's question here, he says TradingView versus MetaTrader 4, it's still forex. It's just the complexity of features and functionality is going to be minimal with TradingView, a little bit better with MetaTrader 4, and then multi-chart's probably going to be the apex of that, right?
Yeah, it would be the most similar to a trading multi-charts. The other two have pretty basic, but you can do the programming. You do programming in both, but the expert advisors in MetaTrader are, extremely prolific. So you can have some that are indicators, or you can have some that are, auto traders. All the the full gamut of functionality.
Nice. A couple things here on languages. I see Tom was saying TradingView is programming language called PineScript, simple to start, but it looks like you can get complex. As all of them are, and one of my biggest jokes for TradeStation over the years is their programming language is called Easy Language, and from what I understand, it's anything but easy. But it's not that easy. As Trey was mentioning, with multi-chart, you can import your TradeStation code, and that's nice because there are certain communities out there, and I assure you, I'm not in that community at all, but I assure you that there's probably a robust community for TradingView as well, where you can say, hey, give me an automated script for moving average crossovers, right? Or, show me whenever it's overbought on Bollinger Bands, that's when I want to make max. Whatever the case may be, it's probably already written out there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel, but you just have to find those communities. TradeStation had a huge community with that as well, where people actually you could commission people to write the code for you, because I'm a coding idiot. I don't understand code at all, except in Excel. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so that universe of indicators in TradingView is expanding, exponentially. They, started out with, very few, and now I would say it's on the level of a MetaTrader, but they've got tons of different add-on studies you can purchase.
Let's see what else I have here. There was a couple of questions came through, but I've never heard of Quantower. OG says I've been using Quantower. You ever heard of that one?
Oh yeah, we have that. So Quantower is really good. I mean, that's another one of those platforms where you can manually trade or automate your strategy like you do in a TradeStation. Yeah, it's got the .NET type coding where you can, or C# type language where you can code in a strategy. But it's also a great platform for manual trading. You can trade options through it. You can trade futures, forex. It's a nice one.
All right. Well, maybe what we should do one day is just have you do a quick demo of the different platforms. That'd be kind of a fun show, so people could see some of the ins and outs of it. Yeah. I mean, it might take some time, but why not give it a shot? One thing that I'm hoping people get from today is, as you pick your platform, and it doesn't have to be futures, even if it's equities or cryptocurrencies or hell, picking a realtor. You always want to shop around and don't get stuck or hung up on, I saw this big ad for this company. I'm going to go just open an account there because they gave me 5 free trades or something. Quite often, what you get with those types of services is crap service as well. I have known Trey for many years, and I've never heard of anybody saying that the service is terrible. It's always, he's awesome. A lot of times Trey will help you personally. I know we have some people here that use TS or maybe in Thinkorswim, and the comments always come up that customer service is horrible there. So, when you're looking at a platform, again, it's do they have a platform that fits your needs from an execution perspective? What are those margin requirements, right? How much money do you have to fund your account with to actually get trading? And then commission costs, right? Some places will give you a very low margin, but their commissions are going to be very, very high. And so they're getting you one way or the other. And then the other piece there is they're going to just really screw you on customer service. So I wanted to bring on Trey today to talk about that a little bit. And I think that hopefully many of you have a greater understanding of the different platforms available. We didn't go visually into all of those, which we could do at some point, or you guys can check out Trey's website, TradePro Futures and Forex. It's just go tradeprofutures.com and contact him. I know that you've done many demos for OTA students in the past. I'm pretty sure you're fairly busy doing demos, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I do a lot of one-on-one training, and it's funny that service, basic one-on-one service has become a rare thing. But yeah. I hear the same things. It costs, it takes 2 hours to get somebody on a chat ticket.
Yeah.
So, I think we're at that age where our time is valuable, and we don't want to spend that time waiting in line or in a queue, and sometimes it's just so much more efficient to talk to a human and fix the problem immediately instead of going through 20 text chains or emails to get the problem resolved.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's actually one of the questions came through. It says, is your customer service by email only like my futures broker is? No, Margaret.
That's rough. I know. It's funny. That's the norm now, is the...
I guess it just has to do with volume, but it's like, I hate, okay, so this is a parallel chain, but I'll go to the office at OTA, and if I need something, I will walk down to that person's office. We can have a 2-minute conversation and save probably an hour worth of back and forth emailing. It's like, okay, I've saved myself 58 minutes of productivity. And I'm sure that for you as well, that's similar where, hey, if I could just get you on the phone or do a video chat and show you on the screen how to do something, that issue is resolved and will not come back. Whereas, if how did you write mouse click? Write mouse click what? Just show me. Oh my God, it drives me nuts. So I commend you with your customer service.
Well, excellent point. I think it's actually more efficient to just, handle it, from the beginning, and to do those one-on-one trainings instead of, 20 minutes with me may save you 5-6 hours on your own.
Easy.
The same thing. So, I think it's actually more efficient just to deal with it from the onset.
Which is why we get along, man. I've had to deal with Trey for many years on that trading floor, and you'll just fix the problem. There you go. Lori says you need to add an options platform, so not just futures, but all options. I don't know. Trey has a lot on his plate. Now you did futures, you do options on futures, you do forex. I don't see crypto on your page here. When's the Trey exchange showing up?
So I'm actually, that's of great interest to me. I'm researching it, ad nauseum, but hopefully at some point in the future we'll have that.
Nice. Many of you asked, I can see in the chat, saying OTA starting me on TradeStation. That's because TradeStation had a relationship with OTA. So TradeStation was allowing Online Trading Academy to use their platform in the classrooms, and that was kind of a contractual thing. So obviously you're inclined to go there to TradeStation, but obviously everyone needs to do their own research and figure out which platform is best for them. I used TradeStation for many, many years. It has some great features of the functionality of the software, but there's many pieces I felt were just lacking. And Doug says, I went from TradeStation to Oanda. I used Oanda for a while as well, and I got slipped so bad one day, I finally just said, I'm done with that one. And who knows what on earth happened there. I tried to get hold of customer service and get it resolved. But, here's the great thing. As a consumer, we have choice. And if someone gives you bad service or bad software or just bad support, leave. Move on to somebody else that does. And, since you're all part of a trading community, talk to your trading community, right? See who's using what out there. You might find all of a sudden some guy's using a brokerage firm and getting better commissions, better margin requirements, and great service, and you're going, wow, I'm over here with ABC getting screwed. Shop around, people. Yeah. Trey, what else anything else you want to go over? We talked about the things I was interested in, which was margin requirements, fee structures, platforms. Anything new on the horizons for you? Anything you're excited about other than just summer in Texas?
Well, just kind of back to the crypto, they can't figure out if it's a security or a commodity.
Right.
But, if the regulators can get that all figured out with these new crypto exchanges buying these, smaller futures exchanges, we could be, maybe not that far off from having a Cardano or Solana contract, here in the future. So, there's a lot of stuff kind of in the works that, We don't know when or if it's going to happen, but yeah, a lot of exciting stuff.
It seems now at least that it's not a passing fad, right? I think part of the issue was, this is just going to disappear in 2 or 3 years. It's just a scam that's running its course. And with the recent legislation that was proposed, I think it's very clear that they're of the mindset of, no, it's here to stay. We just have to establish the parameters of what can and can't be done. Is it a security? Is it a commodity? Is it something else? What is it? And we'll probably see that discussion continue probably into next year, but I'm optimistic that next year we'll get some very clear guidance as far as what is what. And then, by the way, Gary Gensler has said that Bitcoin is a commodity, so you're clear there. You can trade.
Those two. So Ethereum and Bitcoin, we know. Yeah. But any of the others, I don't know why the others are treated so differently. But
centralization is the main key to those. But well, cool, Trey. Well, thank you so much. I have the TradePro futures up here, so anybody wants to check that one out. If you go to their TradeProFutures.com website, you can see up there at the top it says register software demo. You got contact us, and Trey and his team will get back to you there and help you with any other questions. Of course, if you don't want to talk to somebody in person, you really want to just bog down the clock and go slow, you can just click here. It says chat with us, right? So if you like, you millennials out there that just want to chat and not actually interact with any human beings, you're welcome to just chat with us there. But I would encourage you to give them a call and find out if there's some service or platform that might be beneficial for you guys and give you some improvement over the platforms that you're using. All right, Trey. Well,
yeah, I'd be happy to talk to anybody on the show that attended the show, about anything they, whether it's platforms or questions about margin or futures versus forex, any of those topics that we brushed on. I'd be happy to go over that with any of the listeners.
And one thing Trey loves to talk about, it's markets. So
that's right.
Could be an all-day call. All right, Trey. Hey, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. Sorry it's been so long. For those who don't know, I've been texting Trey. Texting him, say, hey, when are you going to come on? When are you come on? Never answered me, right? And Trey's one of my really good friends. I'm like, man, is he just ghosting me for no reason? And I realized I was texting his home phone. So for like a year and a half, I got no responses. We figured it out, and he responds to my text now. So thank you, Trey.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Go out and take your motorcycle for a ride. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in a month or two. We'll get you back on and see what's new.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Guys, Trey Lazzara of TradePro Futures giving us some... I wanted to just really do a broader perspective of the futures markets because, I think that people get too pigeonholed in, I have to use this platform and this is what they give me and these are my rates. Shop around. You have the benefit of going around and finding what works for you. So Trey is awesome. Please update us on your options trading platform. Oh, my options trades? I'll get to that in just a sec. So anyway, TradePro Futures, great guy. I'm sure some of you, does anybody here actually use TradePro Futures? I think some of you do. But I think it's worth checking out for anybody that's there. Again, you got to do your due diligence and obviously be careful wherever you go. But TradePro Futures has been one that's been working for me. All right, let me go ask here and ask for discounts. I'm not saying anything about discounts. Let's see. Let me go into. I wanted to show you a couple different things, and I'll update my option situation. I actually had limit orders to sell my put options today because I was hoping to get out before the GDP number comes out tomorrow, but I didn't get out. So I'm still with my puts. We'll see. I'm 90% certain I will close my puts out tomorrow. I'm a little, I don't know. I'm fairly disappointed in myself because my mind is telling me that tomorrow's GDP number is going to be slightly better than anticipated. And that might cause a bit of a relief rally. However, let's look at the markets that happened today. I mean, you look at the way these markets were tanking today. It was getting bludgeoned out there. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So Bitcoin, no surprise, negative again, down 3%. We'll just leave that because it's just dead in the water right now. But we move our way up to like the NASDAQ, and all of a sudden you have this huge pullback here in the NASDAQ, and I've got a yellow box because it was on a different time frame. I think I had this on, there's another time frame where, I forgot where, but we mapped this one out. But there was a, this zone was drawn for a reason. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But you had pretty much down Periscope all day long. Now going into a GDP announcement, normally this is, in my opinion, would be that information that may have been leaked out and we're starting to see a negative response. However, with all the commodity drops, etc., I don't think we're going to be a huge disappointment with GDP. I still think we're going to be negative, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as expected. Now, if we do come out with another bad GDP number, this should continue down tomorrow, right? And who knows? I don't think we'll challenge that 11,000 mark, which is on my radar, but maybe you see some down move. I have some pretty nice gains on those options positions that I bought. I bought puts on the NASDAQ and on the S&P a couple days ago, and I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a nice gain going, but I really just didn't want to be greedy. I thought about just buying those puts back, right? Or sorry, selling those puts and collecting some premiums. So I was trying to sell my S&P. I was going to keep the NASDAQ, and I had an order in at 555. It got to like 552. Almost took me out, but didn't get me out of my position. So unfortunately, I am still in my put position. We'll see how that translates into tomorrow. Again, we have a GDP number, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. That will be coming out tomorrow. And honestly, tomorrow is an absolute monster of an economic announcement day. There's so much happening tomorrow. It's crazy. So let me finish these markets. I'll go to this last minute question here for Les. If Les is still here, I do have your question about that Forex calendar and GDP. So we'll move our way up. There is your NASDAQ, which had an about face today. You had your S&P 500 down 1.94%, same thing. And again, trend line still intact. I mean, this thing is just going down, down, down. This may be that retracement. I thought we'd go a little higher. I really did. I thought we'd see a couple days higher and then the sell-off, but fortunately, I did manage to buy some puts on this one back on the 24th, so we're all right there. Russell 2000 down 1.73. All of these have the same basic picture, everybody. Here's your Dow down 1.55% with a just giant down day as well. What's interesting is at some point, it was actually up. Right, we had a nice little up pop in these indexes and then just gave up the ghost and plummeted. Now, commodities, we've got gold. We talked about gold and the banning that's going on in G7 countries with regards to Russian gold. Well, gold down again, but just ever so slightly, 0.19% on gold futures. And crude oil. Let's not forget we have OPEC meeting. OPEC probably does not want to see the price of oil drop, regardless of what the prices are in America. My guess is, if you really want to know my sinister thoughts on this, if you look at Saudi Arabia right now, a lot of people are like, oh no, they have to drop the price of oil so we can drive around. I'm sure in Saudi Arabia they're just going, you're going to have $10 gas soon. Oh, the microphone's on? Yes, we will help you try to get your gas prices under control. We may think about increasing production. Is the microphone off? You're going to $10-15 a barrel, America. Choke on our oil. It just kind of cracks me up, the whole oil thing. But anyway, OPEC meetings are going on today and tomorrow, which could create more upside. I mean, who knows really what will happen with OPEC, but bottom line is they're getting a ton of political pressure to increase production so that oil prices will drop. My guess is to save face politically, they may increase a little bit, and that could see oil prices subside a hair, but I really don't think it's going to be a major thing. We will have to see how it all pans out. So that is your top 7 markets out there. I wanted to bring up the dollar index because we had a nice pop in the dollar today, which is part of the reason I think we saw the equity markets dive a little bit. I do think that's going to continue back up, and I think we'll be back up at 106 probably in the next few weeks. All right, one last question here for Les, which is a great one. He says, I use Forex Calendar, and they have listed GDP for tomorrow. It's only a medium impact report. Why only a medium impact? Maybe I should be asking someone at Forex Calendar, but your education insight might help. Yeah, it's actually a fairly easy one to figure out. When you look at GDP, there's the assumption, and let me just bring the calendar up here so you guys can check it out. I don't have that one open, but we will bring it up for you. And there's a lot of different calendars out there that you guys can use. Forex Factory is a great one, but this is not by no means the only one. And let's go to calendar. We'll check for tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday. And here you see final GDP. And what he's referencing here is this little building. It's a little factory, actually, and it's an orange. And I'll zoom in for you guys. All right, so there's the orange little factory there for GDP. Now, the expectations are that we're going to come out at negative 1.5. That's actually just dropped in the last 48 hours because it was negative 1.4. Now you're negative 1.5 is the expectation. The reason that this isn't like bright red and just scalding red is because we already have 2 different readings of GDP that came out a couple weeks ago. You had advanced and then you have preliminary. And those pretty much are giving you the GDP number that's going to happen a couple weeks later. So it's already priced in that it's going to be negative, in my opinion. And that's why the color is that way. If it was like let's say retail sales numbers, right? Let me just give you another example. Let's go later on in the week. So if you look at core PCE price index, you can see right there, it's a big red factory. Why? Well, inflation is the hottest topic on the planet right now, and there is no like preliminary PCE price index. Yes, we had CPI and PPI numbers, but this is kind of a significant monthly reading that could absolutely steer markets. When you look at GDP, it's already kind of factored in. It's already lost the impact because you had preliminary and you had advanced numbers come out, and it already showed contraction in GDP for the second quarter, which is why I don't know if anybody saw, did anybody here watch my Monday morning must-knows I did for Online Trading Academy? I had fun with that one. I was trying to be animated and just kind of silly and stupid at the same time because, well, I can. I had fun with talking about the economic calendar for this week, and GDP is a big one. Now, officially, we'll see as of tomorrow, if this number does in fact come out negative, mainstream media will be saying, we're in a recession. We're in a recession. The headline's going to be recession, recession, recession. Great. Love it. Bring it on. I don't know how long it's going to be, like recession-wise, but that's what the media will be saying. So, there we go. Muted impact. Oil, we did that to ourselves? I don't know if we necessarily did that to ourselves. I think that there's certainly some impact from the U.S., but it's just a lot of it has to do with just global inflation and supply and demand. And yeah, we could point the finger at the pipeline things. I don't know. There's a lot of different factors we could point at, but I wouldn't say, as a lot of people like to point out, go to Joe Biden and say, oh, he caused all this. No. Didn't cause all this. You can say Russia caused some of it. You can say that, there's a lot of different factors out there. For me, again, one of the major factors, in my opinion, has been the rampant printing of dollars has been causing that as well. So, if you think about the reason that they want to print a lot of money, why would they print so many dollars? Because it devalues the value of the dollar. Right? So that means that somebody can now buy more goods and services from us. They can buy more oil. They can buy more gold. They can buy more anything because the dollar was so weak. But now all of a sudden, that has now shifted, and you're seeing this dollar trend to the upside. I mean, we've been trending since 2021 aggressively. So that's changing the demand equation a little bit. But I think that a lot of this oil demand that we've seen over the past 8 months was purchased with cheaper dollars. So, I don't know. I still think that dollar is going to increase, and I do still think you're going to see crude oil increase, but not as aggressively. I think it'll be slightly down. Merlin, would negative GDP drop oil some more? Well, would a negative GDP drop oil prices even more? Well, remember, negative GDP is already priced in. Pretty much a foregone conclusion, we're going to have negative GDP number tomorrow. So I don't know. I don't think it really is going to have much of an impact on crude oil, right? Crude oil should have more of an impact on GDP, not the other way around. They simply told me they couldn't call it. What did you say there, Michael? Let me go back to questions. If it's color-coded, then I use it. That's right. We want the earthquake impact, Alan, the devastating impact. Let's see what else I got. The margin department has always been wonky with notification. Oh yeah, but it wouldn't put risk. So one thing to be careful with margin, guys, is there are some times where you get a margin call and you're typically supposed to be given 2 or 3 days to settle those margin calls. In volatile times like you're seeing, they can all of a sudden close out your position without even notifying you. They'll say they notified you, but they'll close it out at the exact same time. Let's see. What else do I got? Laura, if you made money, then don't worry. Be happy. Don't let the woulda, coulda, shoulda, monster. Exactly. 100%. All right, let me see if I can get to the last little piece here. This is what's going to be cooking for mañana. So for tomorrow, earnings-wise, I'm actually really interested to see what's going to happen with General Mills. Remember, we saw the price of corn and wheat plummeting. We've seen some significant declines in those commodities. However, has it been long enough for it to impact the bottom line of General Mills? So here is General Mills, obviously tons of cereal and breakfast foods, which are going to use a lot of wheat and a lot of corn. And you can see that corn is still kind of holding up, but wheat has just been butchered here recently. Now, that's only been the past month, so I really don't think you're going to see a lot of impact on their final numbers on their earnings call, but they may say something about it. Who knows? It might actually be a decent time for anybody who's looking at long-term plays to focus on something like General Mills. Now, what's interesting, if you look at the price chart, let me bring it up for you. it's already responded. Right, General Mills has gone from $64, now you almost got to $72 in just a period of about 6 days. Why? Because commodity prices have been just falling like a rock, so that's certainly going to benefit them in the long run. Let's see, what else do I have? Here's your economic calendar for tomorrow, and by the way, I did manage to get my my pen working, thank goodness, so hopefully it doesn't cut out speakers. Here's our GDP numbers for tomorrow, which of course is been modified. A couple days ago, this was negative 1.4. Now it's negative 1.5. So they're actually, to me, they're lowering the bar. My guess is you'll come out at negative 1.3 is probably my guess. And what else do we have? You scroll down here, you have crude oil inventories coming out tomorrow. That obviously is going to have a big impact on crude oil. They're expecting a huge about face with regards to inventories. And then as we roll down, there are some other pieces here that are pretty important. You look throughout Europe, right? So anybody here who's trading the euro or the British pound, you can see you have GDP numbers down there near the bottom as well for the British pound. That is an important one. And then for euro, you have import prices, you have retail sales numbers going on for Germany. So those could also be market movers for anybody that's trading those currencies. And there has been quite a bit of volatility for some of those as well. Specifically, when you look at like the British pound and the euro, British pound has just been getting slaughtered, and the euro is not painting a much prettier picture either. Did I not bring up the list? Was that the list there? That one? Was I not showing? Let's see. All right, I think I got it. I think I got everybody's questions, and I'm out for under an hour, so big ebb. Neener. So there you go. There's your list. Yep, I switched it. It's back. Okay. Now that I it's funny because I got 3 screens here and I get really involved staring over at this one. I forget that I got the wrong screen up. All right, that's going to do it for me, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today with Trey. Again, anybody who's interested in futures, definitely check out your broker and do a compare and contrast. See what they offer. What you'll probably find out is you can use the platform that your broker has at TradePro Futures and get better margins, get better maintenance requirements, get better commissions, and better service. It's a win-win-win. It's one of those things that's kind of surprising me because Trey and his team, it's a very small outfit. It's a very small company, but they've been doing it for a long, long time, and they just don't have a huge marketing budget, and he just doesn't spend on marketing. It's like, man, go out there and spend some marketing, but get ads in big trading journals, differentiating. He's like, I'm fine where I'm at. So hopefully you guys will check out Trey. Again, that's TradeProFutures.com. I've got that one right up here, and you can see all the different services, etc., that they have to offer there. All right, that's going to do it for me for today. I don't think I have, I actually reached out to some new guests, but nobody is responding to me. Nobody loves me anymore. Hopefully I will get some of them. I asked a question, was not responded to. Ask it again, Obioma. I go through all this stuff, so Obioma's, you're just trying to stall it and make it a 1-hour show. Is that what your goal is? Obioma, I don't see your question here, and it's 99 degrees in this office, so I need to get out of here before I pass out. You can see the sweat flowing. I'm scrolling back through, trying to find Obioma's question. So if I can find it, I will answer it. I got to everybody else's questions today. Don't see it, Obioma. You got your chance to get questions. I know there's a 30-second delay, so I'm letting it go so you can. I don't know where that one is. Might have to ask me on tomorrow's show, or put it down below the YouTube video, because that's usually where I will answer those questions first, is under the YouTube video. I put them in the PowerPoint, that way I don't forget. And it just got really hot all of a sudden. So, all right. Obioma. I don't see it. Perfect. Let's do it tomorrow. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Again, for Obioma, put it down below the YouTube video. I will get to that question. I put all those questions in the PowerPoint, so I make sure I got all of them. I got less is forex, All right, we got them all answered. Cool. I don't have AC upstairs. Long story there, Doug. Long story. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me. I'm out of here, finally. Comments down below the YouTube video if you have anything else you want me to talk about in tomorrow's show. Email me, TraderMerlin@gmail.com. That said, have a fantastic remainder of your day. I'm going to the gym. I'll see you later. Take care.